The ICC, as we refer to it, is India's first ever collective response by business and philanthropy to enable climate action. We created New Worlds, India in a rapidly changing climate, a 3-part digital series to discuss resilience and recovery in the face of our 2 planetary challenges, COVID and climate change. We have prioritized development first, but climate change will not wait for our development. Instead of pitting climate and development against each other, instead of pitting recovery and resilience against each other, we have to find ways to work on both simultaneously to secure the double or triple wins.
Why the hell are we even talking about climate change when we should be talking about coronavirus or migrant workers or how the economy will revive? Isn't it counterintuitive?
COVID is very specific, tied to a particular virus. Climate change is a systemic threat to our way of living on this planet. So yes, at one level, they're very, very different. What ties them together is I think they're both rooted in one thing, that we have this illusion of control over nature. But the second thing that speaks to what you just said, Barkha, which is that really the front lines of this crisis are the poor and vulnerable in India and the world. And what we have learned from this crisis is that we are not a resilient society. We do not have systems in place to take care of the poorest when faced with something like this crisis. And after all, climate change is nothing if not going to be a series of shocks, whether it's heat waves, whether it's violent weather events, whether it's crop yield declines, whether it's disruptions of all sorts to our water system. We are facing a world that is going to be shock-ridden.
If we are not inherently resilient, if we do not have the structures and the systems in place to provide us security, when a climate change catastrophe hits, and please note that I'm saying when and not if, we will not have those mechanisms in place. And how do we explain to people that the pandemic is a wake-up call for the larger conversation about the state of the planet?
Now you look at the response, and one of the responses is, in order to get out of this economic situation that we are in, we need to liberalize our land laws, we need to liberalize our labor laws, and more importantly, we need to liberalize our environmental laws, so that we get more investment into this country. This is going to be a recipe for even greater disaster. And I think the important question that Navroz has raised is really this grow now, pay later model. Let's have economic growth now, and let's worry about the consequences of the economic growth 15, 20 years down the road. That is a discredited model.
The one stark thing that has come out in the last 45 days is that the community trusts the civil society sector. Who are the first responders? Who went out? Who have the first mile connect to the citizens? Who can give good, quick feedback loops? It is the civil society organizations that are in touch with contextual issues and contextual responses.
The time for a centralized diktat is over. The central government should set broad parameters and guidelines, but what is red, what is orange, what is green should be left to individual state governments to decide.
If we can think rather than pushing solutions or diktats down the pipeline, how can we distribute the ability to solve?
How do you use programs like MG Narega to build climate resilience at the community level? Through water conservation, through land improvements, and not just by giving public works, but actually creating assets. Are we going to get revival through having a lot of polluting jobs? Obviously, we can't pollute our way to prosperity. This is an opportunity for a Green New Deal.
We need to try and reimagine what a more progressive life looks like, a life with dignity, where livelihoods are possible without people, huge numbers of people, having to leave their homes and crisscross this country. I think, for example, having an economy that is built on the scale of migrancy in a country with as poor a safety net as we have is something we should try and move beyond.
The philanthropic community in India has been responding very quickly to this disaster. And even before that, for the last years, some of us have been coming together as collectives, philanthropy collectives, like this India Climate Collaborative, which is hosting today's show. And we are saying, let's think long term, let's collaborate, and let's be much more strategic in our giving.
I just want to end this on one last note, which is, as individuals, we struggle with our helplessness in the face of COVID. Does what I do matter? What can I even do? For many of us, tackling climate change feels the same way. creating a sense of community and working together to combat a crisis we all face. Nothing could be more important. And that is our aim at the ICC. No action is too small. Every single individual can change, and your change accrues to a much greater whole.